Hello there, YouTube. We are knocking on the door of Christmas 2014. It is a beautiful day out, so I'll go ahead and give you the Rob's weather update. 64 degrees, 22% relative humidity, not a cloud in the sky. Yeah, it's about, 3:30 or so in the afternoon. I got out of work a little bit early. Really enjoying my ride home. Even in this traffic, I'm enjoying my ride home. So, now that we're past that, I just thought I'd go ahead and touch up on a little family vacation we took pre-Christmas. Over here, my wife and I have made the discovery about, let's make sure this fella can see me. Wait right there. My wife and I have come upon the discovery that off-season vacations, not only are they cheaper, but the places we go to are less congested. So if you don't mind bundling up a little bit more, or maybe realizing that not all of the attractions of your particular destination are going to be available for you, I'd recommend doing it. You get to save a bit of money, and you get to go and see and do things that, if you weren't saving that money, you might not otherwise be able to do. So for this vacation, we stayed close. We went up to northern Arizona. We went through Camp Verde. We went through, what else? Cottonwood, Sedona, Jerome. All really interesting cities and towns. Jerome built right into the side of a mountain. Cottonwood looks just like you'd imagine an old school American town to look. Sedona apparently has become one of Arizona's premier hiding places for rich people because everything there is way more expensive than it needs to be. They've gone to the posh road upgrades. It seems that they're installing a roundabout at every single intersection. Sometimes one intersection right in front of the other is you're almost getting a figure eight. I'm all for the roundabouts. Everything I've witnessed on YouTube from watching all my favorite MotoVloggers over there in the UK and Europe. Those roundabouts seem to keep traffic moving better than everybody having to come to a four-way stop or a traffic signal light. So in that regard, it's not that I have a thing against roundabouts at all. In fact, I think they may even be more efficient just from what I've observed with traffic. Granted, from a very limited 1080 point of view. What's going on over here? Are we going to move? There we go. That's a nice dude right there. So, went through Sedona, and that was a beautiful place. We stayed there the first night after touring through some of those other towns that my wife grew up in. Cottonwood, and Jerome and whatnot. Moved on to Sedona, stayed there, and it was a really beautiful place. We got to see the Tlaquepaque reserve there off of Oak Creek, and it was just beautiful. They illuminated every single tree with Christmas lights throughout this walkthrough plaza, which is always beautiful. So that was awesome. The kids enjoyed it. A little bit of festive Christmas scenery there. And a couple other places we visited that were just decked out entirely in lights. And hopefully here, while I'm talking, since the view from my helmet cam is, shall we say, riddled with traffic, hopefully I'm able to demonstrate to you what cool things we went and looked at through the magic of video editing. So the following day, we knew we were going to go up to the Grand Canyon, so we picked our route carefully. And giving ourselves all day to get there, we decided to take the Oak Creek Canyon Highway. And my wife was kind enough, she knows I do a lot of driving at work, and she was kind enough to do the driving. Not that it's that hectic or I have a hard time with it, but But quite honestly, I rarely get the chance to just rubberneck and look around. So she drove and I got to look at everything. And I got to tell you, that is one of the most scenic and beautiful and kind to the eye, twisty little roads that you've probably ever seen. Oak Creek Canyon Road. So we took Oak Creek Canyon, and it literally, this road just keeps crisscrossing across the canyon. It's all paved, very slow. You know, you'd be hard pressed to get up in there with a motorcycle and really push your limits, because most of the traffic rolling through there is moving at such a slow pace. However, that being said, there are always people that can F that up. But I digress. It was beautiful. The scenery was great. I got to enjoy it because my wife was doing the driving, so saved me the headache. And we climbed from the canyon floor all the way up into the snow, and it was beautiful. So upon getting up from the Sedona Red Rock area, which if you're not familiar with the Sedona Red Rock, everything around there is named after the Red Rock. And the reason being is the rock formations there are not like the mountains that you see around here. All the rocks are red. You know, perhaps one of the geologists in my in my subscribership here would like to chime in, but all the rocks up there are just a different make of mineral and deposits. So it has this red look to it. And we went ahead and toured around the area a little bit. That's Arizona's gateway to, hello, look at me. Thank you. And that is Arizona's gateway into the Monument Valley, which is spread across the deserts of the Four Corners area. Arizona, Utah, New Mexico, Colorado. I think I got that all right. Probably effed it up. I don't know. I can't remember. Anyhow, my point on this is that it's a beautiful area. So we spent a lot of time looking around there. We went and visited the giant meteor crater, which I suppose if you're really into that sort of thing, well, by all means, go check it out. But if you're not really into that sort of thing and you just wanted to go check out a giant hole in the ground, it's privately owned. The land is privately owned, and they charge quite a bit. In fact, they actually charge more to see that meteor crater, which, yeah, it is impressive. It is impressive, however, not nearly as impressive as the Grand Canyon. Yet it costs more than the Grand Canyon to go. It was absolutely ridiculous. So at any rate, we went up and visited that. Visited some other ruins and other sites. And then we moved on to, pardon me. And then we moved on to the Grand Canyon and just had a really beautiful time. The weather warmed up for us, so it was all of about 50 degrees while we were there, but the National Park Service were telling us normally they have to close the roads. That we just lucked out that day, because normally it only gets up into the 20s on the south rim of the Grand Canyon during this time of year. So we felt lucky, and we felt honored that the weather held for our visit. At one point we got there, and standing next to the seventh wonder of the world, my wife and I are taking in the views. My wife is quite dynamic. She went down there a year and a half ago or so and actually hiked the Grand Canyon, climbed all the way in and all the way back out again. And we were standing there taking in the looks and the scenery and everything, and turn around to find the kids, hearing them laughing and playing. And what are they doing? But they're playing with the snow that still hasn't melted because it's sitting in the shadows of the trees and whatnot. So here we are standing next to the seventh wonder of the world. And what are our two little desert dwelling boys doing? They're playing in the snow. Oh, it made me feel good. It really did. Just seeing the boys have fun, and you know, kids will find interest in whatever they see fit to find interest in. And that in itself is a beautiful thing. So I really had a good time. It was a nice break between these hellacious work days that I've been experiencing where I go to work before the sun comes up and don't come home until after the sun's long gone down. 12 and 13 hour days. So I was glad to get away from that, and conveniently for me, my cell phone, my trusty dusty cell phone that I'd had for 2 years, never nary a problem with, it died just before the vacation started, so I didn't have time to replace it. So guess who went on vacation and didn't get a call or a text or an email from work? That's right, it was me. And you know what? Didn't miss it. Didn't miss it. It was actually very nice. So thank you to my lovely family. They do such a great job working together as a family, and I'm really, really appreciative of that. Coming from a background myself where I didn't come from a family where we had that type of environment, so it's been an interesting thing for me to foster that in my own kids. And it really is a cooperative effort. So we had fun, and we had fun on my vacation, and just thought I'd come on and tell you folks about it, maybe share a few of the snapshots there that I had. So thank you guys for tuning in, and if I don't get another vlog up before Christmas, well, Merry Christmas to you folks. I'm sure I'll be vlogging over the long weekend that I'm going to take. Get 4 days off for this Christmas. So I'm sure I'll be vlogging somewhere in there, but probably won't get them up until after Christmas. So at any rate, all of you, thank you for subscribing, thank you for commenting, thank you for everything you guys do on your end. I enjoy many of your vlogs as well. So again, if I don't see you again, Merry Christmas. I'm doing one of those Sean Smoak super long goodbyes, so I'm just going to say it. You folks have a good one now. Goodbye. Aha, no school zones today. Perfect.